Hey everyone, wanted to take a moment to talk about new construction with you and why it's important for you to have representation. Not every single new construction deal has issues. In fact, a lot of them go through pretty smoothly. But there are times, and I'm in a situation right now with my current clients, there are times that the deal doesn't go through smoothly. And that's when you need someone and want someone on your side, because you may be none the wiser on what you need to do, or that there's even an issue. The biggest thing to know is you don't have to pay for your agent. So why wouldn't you have somebody there if you need to pull the agent card, right? Having someone in your corner representing you who's looking out for your best interest is so important. And I'm going to explain to you why in this current situation. These clients really need me in this new construction deal. So the agent or the lady who's writing the contract for you, okay, or the man in the office, they work for the builder. While they may be sweet and nice, and you think like, oh, they're fine, they're representing the transaction, they're helping me navigate this paperwork. They work for the builder. They're not looking out for your best interest. They're not going to suggest things to you because they represent the builder. So one of the things that that initially can get you into trouble is not having your own independent inspections. You might say, the builder's not going to suggest it to you. They're not going to say, hey, you should probably have your own independent inspections. But you might say, hey, you know what, let me ask them if I should do this, because you think that maybe this is part of the process. Not everybody's going to think that, but some people may. And when you ask, they're probably going to say to you, no, well, you know what, you can do that. It's your right to do it, but we have the building inspectors come in from the county, and this house wouldn't be able to continue on construction, or we wouldn't get a certificate of occupancy if it wasn't okay. And you're going to say, that's acceptable. But an agent will tell you that that's not acceptable. You need an independent inspection. And here's why. Case in point, one of the main issues that's going on right now with my current new construction, and it is one of the major issues in my opinion, is there's a little hole in the garage wall, all right? And you can see that there's there's a line in there. You would look at it, the builder's looking at it, everybody's like, oh, well, we'll just kind of fill that hole in, right? The building inspector has already been, now this is the county inspector, has already been through the house, okay? This hole is there. And the independent inspector goes through, and the independent inspector says, that's a bent gas line. And so now obviously we need to check and make sure that everything is okay. So I go to the builder and I'm like, okay, the project manager, we need to have this evaluated along with the HVAC system that you decided to start up without a filter in. So now we have all kinds of dust and debris in this unit that needs to be cleaned. It needs to be serviced. And I need to know that life expectancy has not been harmed with this brand new HVAC system. Okay. That's issue number 2. There's a third issue, but I'll get to that in a moment. And so the reply is, well, we'll have the HVAC technician come in and verify the system is okay. And we'll also have him look at that gas line to be sure it's okay. To which my clients say, okay, because they were at the house without me one day looking at it. And they always call me and just tell me, hey, we stopped by and we ran into the project manager and here's where we are with things, right? So they told me that this was the response they got on these items. And I said, well, they said, okay, because they felt like that's a fair response. It's going to be checked out, right? No, it's not okay. And they didn't understand that. But here's where I'm looking at it as, okay, so now the system, great, you're going to have it checked out. It needs to be cleaned. You're not turning over a system that is full of gunk and debris because you did not properly install a filter due to your negligence, did not install a filter before starting up the system. Now, is there going to be dust and debris? It's construction. I get it. There's going to be dust and debris, whatever. But if there was a filter in there, there would not be near the amount of what's now in this system. Okay. So no, it's not acceptable. You're going to have it cleaned. And guess what? While the technician's out there and he's going to look at that gas line, if he says that that gas line is okay, I want it in writing. To which the project manager responded to my email saying, I don't understand what you mean. Well, here's what I mean. They're not going to put their backsides on the line and put it in writing that that gas line is okay bent if it's not, because there's a major liability when it comes to gas lines. In fact, it's almost near impossible to get folks to come in and work with gas lines. You have to pretty much almost call the gas providers to come in and work with gas lines, at least in my experience, what I've dealt with in some new construction homes. So what I'm saying is, it's gas, people. It's a gas line. If there's any compromise to it, I want to know that before you close up that wall, that line is safe, like that, right? So my point in making sure that the technician writes this out is that it's truly okay, because they're not going to do it if it's not okay. So I want it in writing. I don't want your word, Mr. Superintendent, that it's okay because the HVAC technician said it was okay. I want it in writing, okay? So I took it that step further. And I don't think that's extreme. This is a gas line and these are people's lives in that home, okay? So that's the HVAC and the gas line. Like, they were just trying to brush it off. Like, we'll just make sure it's, no, you're going to clean it. I want a letter that everything is okay. Okay, then we're good here, right? The next major issue is that there was a repair to the truss. During our blue tape, which was an absolute nightmare, they said, we have, I asked them for an engineer's letter. They said, oh, we have an engineer's letter. We have to do that. Great. That's what I want. I want an engineer's letter. So they said they would send it, and they sent it to my client. I looked at the letter, and the letter is a how to repair the truss that was damaged. It's not an engineer letter that says the repairs were done correctly. And so I sent an email and I said, we need an engineer's letter that the repairs were done correctly, to which they respond, well, typically we have the building inspector come in from the county and look at the repairs and verify that it's okay. To which most people would say, okay, it's acceptable. Except it's not acceptable. A building inspector is not a licensed engineer, okay? The truss is structural. It holds your house up, okay? It holds your house up, okay? This repair, it could be a minor issue. It could have been a major issue. I'm not an engineer. I can't tell you. What I can tell you is you don't mess with a truss. Now, when you go to sell your house 5 to 10 years from now, because you're done with this one, you've grown out of it, you want to upsize, inspector comes through, what's going to happen is a good agent on the other side is going to say, we need a structural engineer's letter to prove and say that this house is sound because this truss had a repair to it. And guess what you would have in your back pocket? An engineer's letter, because your agent made the builder do it. Okay, so these are just a few of the issues that are happening right now. More has happened. I'm not going to say the name of this builder, and this is a builder that most of everyone who's watching this video has heard of this builder. I'm very, very disappointed in the turnout of this, but I feel like you need to understand these are the reasons why. It may not happen in every transaction, but when it comes up, you definitely want an agent who knows better. Because one of the things that they're not going to tell you is that you should have, and I think I said this in the top of the video, you should have your own independent inspection. If my clients did not have their own independent inspection, they would have never found this out. So that gas line would have been, bent gas line would have been closed in the wall, and it could be an issue and it could not be an issue. They won't have that letter to protect the truss, and their HVAC system would have been turned over dirty and gunky and full of debris. Oh, there was also roofing shingles on the report that were damaged. Why? Because my inspector walked on the roof to see it. And so again, those shingles, those damaged shingles could cause issues for them with roof leaks and stuff. Again, those are going to now be fixed. But if a building county inspector saw all that, why was it not an issue for him? So my point is, they're not, while they're good, and they might catch some stuff that the home inspector didn't catch. Not saying they're bad, they don't look at things on the same level. So for your protection, it's always best to have someone in your corner. If you have any questions about new construction, know that you have to go in with your agent from the start, or tell them you have an agent. But again, it's free to you. You don't pay for your agent. So why not? At the chance that something like this might happen, why not have somebody who's representing you, who's looking out for your best interest?